And really like what I loved about seeing something like that, like you said, was just so many family and friends coming together, right? Saying like, we are your village. Like
Yeah.
it's a statement, right? It's like you guys are getting married, but we're all getting married too, right? Because you're not going to walk this path alone, right? You said you're a community leader, right? So a lot
Yeah.
of religions, obviously, before they get married, they go talk to their spiritual advisor, right? Get some advice or do premarital counseling and things of that nature. Yeah. So I think again, that's just such a beautiful thing. Everything that you've set up until this point, I don't know if you realize it, is you've had family backing you the entire way. Think about what you said. Every step
Absolutely.
of the way, every step of
Absolutely.
your success, you've had family and friends backing you, championing you, and holding you up. So I mean, again, like I can't see this thing failing, man. You got too much of a support system. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely. That's
thing.
like I said, that is the definition of privilege in my book. You know, it's
Right.
not money, it's not status, it's
Yeah.
people. It's people that I can lean on and call on, and I will call and pray for me if I
Yes.
said I was going through something. And it makes all the difference. And I know I keep saying that, but it makes all the difference.
No, listen, we got to keep hammering it home,
Mhm.
I got a question. So most entrepreneurs normally do a certain amount of time in business, any type of field first, right?
Mhm.
I understand COVID happened, but to kind of work for a couple of years, because again, you're fresh out of school and stuff like that, and then decide kind of like automatically, very quickly, I want to be a business owner. Can you just kind of walk us through that mindset? Because that's not something that most people will just automatically say, okay, I got fired. Let me get another job. Let me put some resumes out there, right? Not,
Right.
okay, I got fired. Let me open up my own business and I'm I'm gonna be my own boss. Like, can you walk us through that mindset and
Yeah.
what helped you make that decision?
Well, I definitely was still applying to jobs during the entire time, but I'm not a person that's going to sit down and wait for something to happen for me, right? I'm a person that's going to get up and make something possible. And my mom, when I was telling you earlier about how my mom the other day reminded me about all the different entrepreneurial journeys that I've had, I've always been a hustler. So when we came to America, like I said, the situation was different. But even before we came to America, the situation was different, and I was still a hustler. We would take my mom, like I said, my dad owned a hotel and restaurant catering service, and we would get the pastries from the catering department and go and sell it in front of my church, like at like age 6, like age 7 or 8. Like we would, anytime anybody could make $1 on my own that was mine, I was going to do it 100% of the time. Came to America.
Message.
Came to America, uh, went to school, and I sold cupcakes. I used to make cupcakes. Get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and bake a dozen or 2 dozen cupcakes to sell at school. Ice them and everything, make them cute. I'd be in Broadway Junction walking through with a big thing this big full of cupcakes, looking stupid, but like at the end of the day, I knew I was coming home with $24 every single day, which for a 12-year-old, that was something. You know what I mean? So I was just always, I'm gonna make $1 out of 15 cents every single time, period. That's just me. And so when it came time for COVID, I knew I had somewhere to live. I knew I had somewhere to lay my head. I didn't have to be in a crazy, insane survival mode where I had to go work an hourly job. And so that, again, privilege, acknowledging that privilege allowed me to say, okay, I'm stable right now. How can I thrive? And the only way to do that was to be bringing money in. And so I started my business in the back of one of my college classes. I was, a campus leader. I did a lot of advocacy on campus for Black students. We brought the first Black historically, we brought Delta Sigma Theta to my campus. And, I had this background of doing a lot of advocacy work, working closely with the administration to drive change for students. And I knew that grit that I had was is meant to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Um, I was doing flyers as I was president of BSU, and I was doing flyers and I was doing different things on Canva for the different clubs on campus. And I also was a makeup artist when I was in college. So I was doing makeup. That was like my first business for real. I was doing makeup. I started doing makeup my senior year of high school because I wanted to get makeup and be able to buy makeup. And so every time I bought makeup, I would have to go do makeup to be able to get that little $40, $50 back. And it was just a thing where it was like, I'm balancing the books here. If I like nice things, I need to be able to afford nice things. And I was doing makeup, going back and forth between New York and school and all this stuff. And some great opportunities started coming my way. I actually did music. I did makeup on a Boogie music video uh, before. I can't remember the song, but like that happened. Like so many dope things. I got published in a magazine for being for makeup artistry, and the opportunities were coming, and I had to look professional. I had to look the part, and I knew that I couldn't do that without having a good logo, strong branding. I had that from a very, I just from observation, not really ever studying these things, knew that I needed that. And I began to just, I looked at myself and I said, listen, the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription is free for 1 month. You got 1 month to figure out how to make a logo, 1 month to figure out how to make all the assets you need to just figure it out. So I got on YouTube University and I just played in Illustrator, played in Photoshop, and did something. It was ugly as hell, but I did it, and it was consistent, and that's all I really cared about. People saw what I was doing. For my personal brand, it was like, "Can you make me a logo? Can you make me a this?" And it just spitballed into something that just happened. And I was doing that even when I was working that first job, and they leveraged that skill that I had as well at that job, even though that wasn't necessarily like in my scope of work for that role. And I knew I was like, okay, so if this company is doing stuff for Urban Outfitters, Victoria's Secret, Bulgari, and they're asking me to do design on, basic things, that means that they are comfortable putting my designs in front of Victoria's Secret, Urban Outfitters, and Bulgari. Do you see where I'm going with this? At that point, that reified the fact that, okay, I actually have some talent. If I continue to work at this, I can actually do something. I was throwing events. I was, always responding to life with spontaneity, which is, a big part of me is just I'm spontaneous, I'm chaotic. I just go with the flow on things. I move quickly. And all these different ventures, every idea that I had, I executed on it. I wanted to do a bar crawl for Galentine's. I did it and I promoted it, and like 50 to 100 people came out, and it was successful out of nowhere.